Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it. You already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye. Bye. Let's get to the intro. Welcome back. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're direct in the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking. And I appreciate the support, man. I'm very humbled by it. So, P-Face Baby. That said NK all day, every day to the day he dies, right? Or did he? Now, this guy just did a no pumper interview, right? Over there with Adam 16 and all the fellas, the new crew. I call it the new crew of gangsters, man. You know, you got to get, in order to get certified in the state of California into being a gangster, you have to go to no jumper. You got to get interrogated by Adam. If you don't go through the interrogation process before you go through the initiation process, then homie, guess what? You haven't been processed. Okay. So this guy, P-Face Baby, a Compton rapper, a Comptonero, right? Compton. Compton is he? Decides, he's a youngster. He decides that no jumper is the best move. He makes his next move the best move, and he goes to no jumper. Now, look, a lot of your favorite rappers went on there. You know, people from Northern California, people from Southern California, people from Chicago, people from everywhere have went on no jumper because they feel they get a boost in their fame and fortune, right? Really, you don't get that. You get a case, and Adam gets the fortune, and no one's fame. There's no fame, right? There's no fame, nothing famous about it. People like myself will continue to let you know, like, you know, you done fucked up, right? You know, you done messed up. And they're going to continue to keep doing what they do. Anyways, this Compton rapper decides to pull up to no jumper and he does an interview. Now, interview to the side, there isn't really much that Adam can interrogate him on because he's a youngster. There probably hasn't been much that he's done in his life. And what he has done, you know, he didn't really put out there. So I commend him on the responses that he gave. But there is a lot. This guy, they're very critical of this guy. Okay. This guy was seen or heard one time speaking about NK. And I keep hearing this NK stuff, right? Let me explain to you guys for once and for all what it means. Okay. Because there could be several different meanings. And I'm going to tell you pretty much when it comes to P-Face Baby, what that NK meant. Because he got into it with another guy that was on the podcast, No Jumper, a brother man that felt some type of way. And I could understand. You know, when the brothers hear the NK, or even myself, when I used to hear the NK, they took on different meanings. Okay. Northern California and Southern California, there's a difference to that word, to that NK stuff, right? There's a big difference. I never was NK. I'll let you guys know that right now. Never even thought about it the way that it's spoken on in Southern California and in other fucking states and other places. The way I thought about it was Norteño killer, right? And I used to see a lot of the upstate Southsiders, a lot of the Crips that were going against Norteños. Anytime you had an enemy that was against the Norteño movement in Northern California, a lot of them did get the tattoo NK. You did see a lot of it tagged up on the walls. And we automatically knew exactly what that meant. And that was Norteño killer, right? There was no doubt in our minds. You know, I've seen Southsiders with it real big on their forehead, on their cheek, you know, and then I've seen the opposite. SK, homies used to get it all the time. I ain't gonna lie, man. I used to have the shit on my knee. I covered the shit up, right? Facts, right? It just is what it is. It was something that everybody was getting. You know, that meant you were in opposition of. Didn't necessarily meant you were really killing people. You know, just like everyone, oh, I'm EBK this or EBK that. Yeah, but they're not killing everybody. You know what I'm saying? That's bad. Most they're ever killing is the toilet. But people get these, you know, it's been like this for a long time. Let me tell you guys who originated that case stuff. The first people to originate that case stuff were the Crips and the Bloods. You know, I remember being in the Youth Authority back in the 90s when it was rocking. When Crips and Bloods were rocking before the peace treaty, before the fucking Rodney King things, before the O.J. Simpsons, before all this fucking shit, this historical shit happened in Southern California, there was Crips and there was Bloods, and they didn't like each other too much, right? As I got into YA, as the years passed, in the beginning, it was a lot of Cripping and a lot of blood and old paw ruin on cuz, right? They were really going at it. And there was a lot of BKs and there was a lot of CKs and there was a lot of O's whacked out. And there was a lot of different neighborhoods whacked out. In fact, the brothers, the blacks, man, they were the first ones to be doing that, whacking out each other's neighborhoods, whacking out certain letters, all that. I started to see the Southsiders that would do that as well. And it was mainly Southsiders from the Los Angeles area, maybe South Central, Baltas from Florencia, from 18, from Compton, from all these different groups. They were whacking out certain lettering because at that time, the black and brown on the streets, certain neighborhoods were not getting along. Certain neighborhoods were getting along. Like it was kind of like, and I can understand it. Like Immer said, man, we didn't get along with the Crips for whatever reason, right? But we were cool with the Sangres, the Bloods, right? So if the Bloods put a CK or whatever, we didn't dispute it. Put it like that. My neighborhood wasn't crossing out C's, crossing out B's, crossing out none of that. There was none of that getting crossed out S's, all that. Not back in my days, right? Nowadays, these youngsters can do whatever. They damn near, I don't even know why you're fucking writing the word. You got to cross every fucking letter out. Every letter's the enemy. The motherfuckers will put the whole hood and then cross out every letter. And it's like, damn, you crossed out your own shit. Literally. But the brothers were doing that back in the days. The Crips and the Bloods were going at it back when I was locked up. And that was the originators of the CK, BK. And then I started seeing the EBK, right? The everybody killer. Dudes were just against everybody. Now, you need to understand Southern California and Northern California is different. Very different. Different areas, different geographical makeups, different way the gangs move, different politics, different rules, different, in the words of Cholowan, different area, right? It's a different area. It's just different. Having done time in Southern California, I could tell you, although the politics and the things are different out there, everyone still is the same as far as people. You can't change people, right? You could change the rules, the regulations, the reglas. You could change all that, but you can't change the way people eat, the way people think, the way people feel, right? So to me, that was truly a blessing going to Southern California when I was young, locked up, because I got to see how they moved down south, and I got to see who the adversary was, how they thought, how they moved, what they were all about, right? It kind of gave me a leg up, so to say, when I went up north and when I got locked up again, because I already knew how they were thinking. I could tell by the way they were acting, like what they were into, whereas other homies and other Northerners used to see them be like, fuck them vatos and shit. I used to be like, hey, bro, them vatos they're about to do this. Watch. I already knew because I had been around them for so long. Anyways, trip out, right? There was a lot of black and brown tension at that time. And the youth authority was very racial, very gang related and very racial, right? The brothers didn't like the Southsiders and the Southsiders didn't like the brothers, man. And it went both ways. Okay. And if according to the brothers, man, it was a whole lot of Mexicans, right? They threw all the Mexicans in that motherfucking mix. North, South didn't matter, right? In Southern California, when you went to Northern California, there was C14ers and the Crips and the Bloods and all that moved a little bit differently, right? But as far as in Southern California, man, the blacks was like, fuck it. One Mexican, all Mexicans. That's kind of how they felt. Didn't mean every brother was racial or every brother meant, was riding like that, but you ride with your people. If that was what was going down, that's what was going down. Same thing on the Southerners' behalf, right? Them Vatos were riding with their gente. And if one black kicked it off or one black disrespected and they felt like, hey, the whole pot of jambalaya would go. Just like they say, you fight one bean, you fight the whole burrito. Well, fuck it, let's fight the whole fucking pot of jambalaya then. Right? That's how it was. There was plenty of incidences, black and brown, or tension between black and brown, that even to some point, man, the Norteños almost even got involved. We were asked on behalf of the Southsiders to involve ourselves in a racial thing. It almost went down. It didn't quite go down. I'm glad it didn't, man. And I think everybody was glad it didn't, because there would have just been a whole bunch of motherfucking black and brown fighting for nothing over some small disrespect. Anyways, in Southern California, I've been hearing this NK thing lately. Now, I thought NK was just for Northern California. I thought NK, SK was disrespect towards Norteños and Southsiders, and it went both ways. Okay. That's what I thought. I never heard NK in Southern California. One thing I never seen in my life, and that's why that dude G-Face. Remember G-Face? The guy who told on everyone and disappeared? Right, remember him? If you guys recall, man, he was on No Jumper as well as P-Face Baby, right? And he had a big old NK under his arm. And when he was asked by Active Adam 16, right, what that meant, you know, he said, it means Norteño killer, right? I said, if you don't shut your dumb ass up with your frizzly ass beard worse than mine, right? Ain't no Southsider I ever met from past the grapevine, homie, from Southern California, gonna get an NK on them, meaning disrespecting Norteños, right? Nowadays, anything's possible because nowadays, just this day, nowadays, you know, Norteños and Southsiders beef on the internet, and you got the internet wars going on, and you got all this bullshit, right? Social media. But prior to that, they didn't get NK on them because it meant Norteños. They didn't even care about the Norteño movement or what the Norteños were doing, let alone are they going to get an NK on him. So that dude was frivolous and full of bullshit. What he had on him was an NK, which is what you will see on a lot of Southerners nowadays, which either meant neighborhood killer, like a different neighborhood they don't get along with, or, of course, the N-word, killer, right? That's what they get, right? And this motherfucker conveniently put it under his dirty ass, musty, stinky ass underarm pit, right? Savaco Town. We're taking it to Savaco Town. He put it under his fucking underarm. Why? For two reasons. One, maybe that was disrespect, but two, so no one could see it. They're not looking under your fucking underarm pit, right? So big old NK, and then I'm a Norteño killer, and then later on he apologizes. Spence, I wasn't that. We all know what it meant. The NK was a derogatory term used towards black men, and that's what people are getting it for. Now, this P-Face Baby is from Compton. Compton's a delicate situation. See, to understand Compton, you have to understand a little bit of the history of Compton. See, what a lot of people don't know, all they know is they seen Straight Outta Compton, they seen Boys in the Hood, they seen fucking like Born and Red Compton, they seen DJ Quick, The Game. That's how people think they know Compton, because they think Compton is commercial. They think Compton is, when they think LA, you know, how do I know? Because I was in North Carolina locked up, man, as a youth, and they were like, are you from Compton? Are you from LA? And I was like, hell yeah, hell yeah. Right? I was playing it off because I wanted to scare them youngsters, right? Because I was locked up in juvenile. I was trying to scare shit. But that's all they know. And they know that from music, from the news, social media now, and all that shit. Oh, everyone's all spooked at Compton, right? But quietly as it's kept the history of Compton is it was actually a white influential area, a rich area a long time ago. Okay. And after several incidents happened, the Watts riots, a lot of things like that took place. Slowly but surely, all the rich white people said, you know what? There are too many brothers and Mexicans around here. We're going to go ahead and get up out of here. Well, what you going to do, brother? Hurry up. Pack, brother. Right? So they packed, brother. And all the whites got out of there and they were replaced by the brothers. Man, it was kind of like what they do now. You know, when you see all the brothers getting displaced from their area, or Mexicans displaced and gentrification is happening. That's kind of what happened in the reverse. Kind of like reverse racism, reverse fucking gentrification. All the whites got on down the road because they made a choice, a conscious decision to get the fuck up out of there. There's too much color around here, right? They got out of there, and the blacks dominated and took over the area. Well, slowly but surely, just like all the state of California and anywhere on the West Coast and the southwestern states, you got a lot of Mexicans that came in and set up shop. And so it started to become a lot of Mexican neighbors. Now, Mexicans had always been around Compton, but not in that capacity, right? And they started to flow in and get deeper and deeper, where it is now a majority Mexicano city, a majority Southsider city. More barrios than hoods, right? And so there's going to be beef with gangs, with different ethnicities, with different cultures. Comes beef, comes Wendy's, comes Dave's double stack or triple stack, right? Comes beef. And the blacks and the browns, not all of them, but some have been beefing in the city of Compton, certain barrios for a long time. Now, P-Face, P-Face Baby. What the fuck, P-Face Baby? It said, let the baby go. Just P-Face. It said, like your homie G-Face. Anyways, P-Face Baby decides, he's from a barrio where they go at it with blacks, right? Not every black neighborhood, but certain blacks. But just like I've always seen throughout the history, When it comes to one group that goes at it, they'll put certain derogatory terms like NKs or BKs or CKs. And it just is what it is. Is it racial? Absolutely. Let's not sugarcoat it, cut it any other way than it would call it what it is, right? Does that mean that man hates all black people for sure? Nah, but once it's on you or once you say it, you say it. And people are going to take it that way. That's the truth. So the NK stuff, when you see people saying NK, look, make sure there's no brothers around here tripping, right? Because I'm saying it loud. NK means exactly what it is. And you got to stand on that. If you get that on you, if you say that, if you claim a neighborhood that's that, if you rep that, homie, you better stand on that shit. Now, that dude, P-Face Baby, went to No Jumper, and he was questioned by a black dude that was there, right? I don't know the new dude's name, and these guys fluctuate. They fluctuate in No Jumper. They're always there. They're not. They're there. They're not. They're gangsters. You know what I'm saying? Most of them go. It's like a transitional house. They go from nothing really on the streets. There's a few. Shout out Munchie and no power whack allegedly, right? But there's a few that they transition through that transitional housing, right? In No Jumper, and then they go to the feds. So that's kind of how that works. And Adam just usually oh yeah, right, kicks it. So, anyways, P-Face transitioned through that house the other day, the No Jumper household. And the other dude hit him up, was like, hey, bro, if I knew you would have been down with that NK stuff, I'd have never fucked. And P-Face banged on him, let him know. There's a lot of people saying, oh, P-Face got marked out, or P-Face marked this guy out, or P-Face did this, or P-Face. Look, all I know is whatever that youngster did, he stood on his 10. Okay, I got to respect it. When you voice what you are in the gang lifestyle, you can't do nothing but stand on it, man. People that bow down like that dude G-Face, oh, this means Norteño killing. And then when the Norteños was like, what? He was like, oh, what? Right? Then, you can't throw shit on others. Be real and be true to what you are. If you get it on you, it's on you, man. It's crazy because you got the J-Cat fucking Crip Mac running around with Hoover Killer on his head. He ain't whacked it out. He ain't erased it. He's taking all fades for it. But he stands on it. Regardless of what people say, he stands on it. And there's going to be a lot of people, oh, he's a suck, he's a coward, he got marked out, he got this, he got that. Everyone's always says everything about everyone else, right? But the truth is, that motherfucker's still running around. It ain't wiped off his head yet. It ain't blasted off his shit yet, right? P-Face stood on his head. Now, is it a good thing, the NK thing? No, absolutely not. It's not nothing I would ever get on my body. I would ever back up. I would ever support. I would ever respect. It's not the way it is. But you got to understand, in Southern California, man, there's a lot of black and brown gangs that get along, and there's a lot of black and brown gangs that don't. And unfortunately, it might not even be a racial situation. It might be just some gang shit, some hood shit, some turf shit. But it always becomes racial when it's two different ethnicities. You always notice that? It just does. See, in Northern California, don't get it twisted. They always say, oh, the Norteños get along with the blacks. Not necessarily. I'll keep it real. My hood and fucking the Crips have been going at it in Merced for ages, for decades, right? But the Bloods in my hood get along. So it's not a black thing. That's why I as a Norteño, you won't see no NKs, man. The brothers are locked in and tied in with Norteños, not necessarily on some gang shit or some hood shit, but on some life shit, right? The way it is in Northern California is because neighborhoods are shared like that. They're just locked in, especially like in the Bay Area. You'll see a lot of dudes in Oakland say the word blood, say the N word, say all that. They're locked in with the brothers right there, man. I'm going to tell you guys, I got a video about that, about a dude getting whacked. An OG from Oakland that I'll be doing next. That'll be my second video, man. Kind of pertains to this N-word stuff, man. Real talk. Anyways, you guys let me know. Do you think that dude P-Face Baby was marked out because dude got Adam, was like, oh, we'd have never brought you on here, and Adam's all stupid. He stood on it. But for all these people that are bullshitting, oh, the NK doesn't mean this, the NK can mean that. They look at, you know what the NK means, man. Stop already. Just stop. Just admit it and stand on it. If you fucking tag it up, if you get it on you, if that's what your hood is, that's what your hood is, man. Respectfully, look, man, I've seen MKs, Mexican killer. I've seen disrespectful, derogatory terms towards Mexicans from the black community, and I've seen a lot from the brown community to the black community. It goes both ways, man. Don't get in here all hyped like, oh, no, we're not racist against Mexicans, or, oh, no, we're not racist. Look at it. It goes both ways, bro. It's stupid. It's childish. And it's dumb. And until we can take care of our own people and get our shit together, we cannot never come together with another people for assistance. There was this black dude that got it, man. We don't need your Mexicans' help. We got this. I no doubt, bro. I don't have no doubt that you got this. But it's been hundreds of years, man, and all of us, you and us, still ain't got shit. So in order for us to continue to strive and struggle through hypocrisy and all the bullshit, man, isn't it cool to have an ally? It always two heads always are better than one, right? Work smarter, not harder. Anyways, let me know about this P-Face baby kid, man. I seen this. I see a lot of people making videos on it. I don't know. I don't know what to think. All I know is, man, he said that NK shit, and that's exactly what it stands for, and not nothing else. Now, again, it could mean a certain neighborhood and some fucking places, but come on, when people say NK, man, you know exactly what the fuck they mean, man. Just stand on your business. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe, and that's the betterment of all people. And again, that doesn't mean all Southsiders are against blacks and all blacks hate Southsiders. Quite the contrary. I've seen a lot of dudes that got along, their neighborhoods got along. I knew 18th Street and Hoovers were getting along certain cliques. I knew there was a lot, there was a lot of beef between Mexicans, and there was a lot of getting along between Mexicans and blacks. So, don't let the fucking myth fool you that all Mexicans hate blacks and all that, or vice versa, because it ain't that. It really isn't, man. And I know in Northern California, from what I could tell you, it was never none of that. It was always love until it wasn't. And then motherfuckers got off where they were mad at. Facts.